here we have Chesscube tournament kibitzing. So let's take a look at this game. We have queens pawns game here with d4, d5, and then an unusual move, pawn to f4. Okay, so now white played this b3 move. It's move 10, and to prepare fianchetto, and here we have exchange of knights. Now knight goes to this outpost on e3, so it has to be taken. This knight cannot be tolerated here, and black takes it, and now white takes with the f-pawn, which is a good idea. Taking with d-pawn was a little weaker. Okay, so now this e4 pawn is under fire. So now what will white do about this attacked pawn? Note that c-file is important here because queen is defending only this backward c3 pawn. So now it is a difficult position, and black takes his time, and he grabs this pawn, and white repairs his pawn structure. And now this rook on c-file, just to attack this backward c3 pawn. White wins this pawn, exchanging bishops, but this c3 pawn now falls, and black rook penetrated into the white's camp. Now white goes with his bishop to the action, and now a very strong move, pawn to f5, white take and pawn. And now white makes a blunder, sacrificing the exchange, rook for bishop, but there is no compensation for it. Okay, so he goes with rook to e1 with the idea bishop to f2, connecting queen and rook. So black wants to trade queens, and white should exchange queens here actually, even though he is worse with material, but here he should exchange queens, because this rook on c3 is quite dangerous, and this another rook on f5 is also dangerous, and still and soon they are going to attack on white's king. Okay, and this is a mistake, very big mistake actually. Queen to e5 allows to play queen to f3 now, and black has the game in his pocket already. So now a move like g4 could be played, but it also doesn't do much. So this bishop to f4 move is a losing move, and now we see the technique of winning. So he brings the rook to the 7th, or in this case to the 2nd rank. Now queen will be ready to checkmate. So he just goes with some desperate check with his queen, rook defends. White doesn't have really any good moves here, so he sacrifices the queen for the rook just to win a few moves. Check, king goes to safety, and it's all over. because now there is no defense against checkmate. So it's check, and now queen takes rook is checkmate, but he plays like this and it's checkmate next move. Rook takes rook and it's checkmate. Okay, so this is the player that we are kibitzing here, a very strong player, very strong amateur, over 2000 rated, but he plays mainly tournament games, and his opponent doesn't play much standard games. He plays tournament only, and he's quite highly rated, close to 1800. So let's have a look at another game. It was round 2, and here we have round 4 of this tournament. These guys are just flying here. It's already move 12, and now black plays to bishop e7 to break the pin. So now white goes rook c1, and he is now ready for the pawn push b4, because he will have rook on the open file then. So now the knights can be exchanged. And here white can take knight on f6, and then white can expect a move of the rook to c8. Okay, so I just remind you that the player that we are kibitzing here, he won his first round in this tournament. He won also the second round. Round 3 was a draw because he had a winning position, but he had time trouble, so he finally managed to get a draw. And this is the final 4th round of this tournament, when he's playing versus a very strong opponent. Okay, so rather than grabbing the knight on f6, he moved his rook to e1. And just as expected, black plays rook to c8. Those guys just play very strong chess. They don't make mistakes actually, and when the first 10 or several moves, they are just flying, if we can say so. Okay, so here white has obviously some trouble how to play. So here bishop to f4 or bishop to b1 is a good idea. Obviously white has some trouble to find the move, so he makes a waiting move on h3. Both sides try to improve their position. And obviously white again starts to get some time trouble. His time is getting dangerously low now. Okay, and now this knight has to go. Queen now plays here to threaten checkmate on g2. So playing f3 isn't a very strong move, it's a passive move, and white found a better move here. So this is a very good move. It not only defends checkmate but also attacks queen. But black wins a pawn, so he plays the queen to defend this pawn. Instead of this, it was also possible to play rook to a1. So now this bishop pins this bishop. And he finally moves the rook to a1. We have bishops exchange. It was a little better to capture like this. Capturing with the queen was a little weaker, probably. And now he just attacks the queen, but it's nothing dangerous. The queen can just retreat like that. Okay, so now black is increasing pressure on this d3 knight. So white decides to exchange rooks, and now this queen blocks, stops the pawn on c3 and also defends this b4 pawn. Okay, so he now prepares his knight. White prepares his knight for a trip, and finally he lands on c4 just to separate this passed pawn from protection of the rook. But now black attacks this b3 pawn, and white is in serious time trouble. White defends. Now rook to a is needed. Instead we see f3 move, which is a blunder, and now it loses for white. So now the rest is only a matter of time. But of course, since this game will not end, it's lost on time for white already. But this position is winning for black absolutely, because pawn just pawn, and black has two passed pawns, two connected passed pawns, which will be unstoppable, and one of them will promote for queen. And it's lights out. Okay, so let's just see who is this player, because he played very well and he doesn't have any results here. Some kind of a new account, and let's once again look at the player that we are kibitzing here. So yes, a very strong amateur chess player, 2000 rated in general, and also very high rated in tournament games. So now let's take a look at the final results of this tournament.